Siomra beag.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sure Look. Sure Listen, the podcast taking a pop at culture.
Sure look, sure listen. Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen. Very good, Benjamin. You've changed the tagline once again. I love every week coming in and seeing what you're going to go with this week. Benjamin.
Yes.
Sure, look, we don't have time for whatever witty retort you're going to throw back at me there, because we've loads to look at, including the adaptation of the thing you relate to most in all of pop culture, Pinocchio.
I just want to be a real boy.
Yeah, you just want to be a real boy. Don't talk during my bit, Ben. I do this, my bit. One little bit I get for myself every week. Then we're going to go on episode 600 of Ezra Watch, your favourite segment of the podcast, where we find out what Ezra Miller's up to. I have accidentally seen Moonfall and, Benjamin, Nope. So we've seen two films of wildly varying quality about space goings-on. Also, both of us, I imagine, have seen She-Hulk episode 2.
Sure, listen, Michael, if that wasn't enough, and it isn't for a weekly comic book cast.
Yeah. Comic book cast. That's what it's called.
Comic book cast. That's what we are. That's what we are, Michael. It wasn't enough, Michael, for that. We needed much, much more. So we're also going to be taking a look at the adaptation conversation. We're going to be looking at how we've changed our approach, Michael, as a species to adapting the beloved comic books of our youth.
All right. Are we talking specifically about comic books, Ben?
Yeah, a little bit about comic books, Michael. But there's some other little adaptation tangents in there as well.
Oh, very good and interesting, Benjamin.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the trailer for the live-action Pinocchio, but my good friend Sean did send me an image of it, Ben, and it looks utterly horrifying.
It is, Michael. It's once again, Robert Zemeckis has emerged from his Christmas time annual rebirth cycle.
From his chrysalis.
From his chrysalis of the uncanny valley, Michael. And he's, not unlike the Yeats poem, he is the half-formed beast slumping towards Bethlehem, Michael.
Oh, go on.
And he's here to inflict pain on us once again, because Disney have given him a budget to make something with CGI. And you know, Michael, naturally, what one might assume from a live action Pinocchio is set in Florence, Italy, as it is. One might assume that you would get somebody of Italian origin to play a man called Geppetto.
No. I think it's Giuseppe.
It's not, but that's okay.
Okay.
Michael, he's only gone and gotten Tom Hanks, who gets to be in everything he does.
Tom Hanks is he's going to be a bigger Geppetto.
Yeah, Tommy Hanks is in there. Tommy Hanks, I think, is just going to play Tommy Hanks, but
yeah, very good. Yeah,
you know, that's what you do. You don't waste Tom Hanks with method acting or anything like that, Michael. You just get him to be Tom Hanks. That's what you do.
Yeah, he's going to be a Geppetto. Is he doing a big Italian accent?
No, he doesn't seem to be, but that could change, Michael, in post-production. I don't know.
Let's hope that it does, Benjamin. That is the only thing that would interest me in this.
Yeah, Michael, they've very strange goings on here. Naturally, the internet's a little bit annoyed because the blue fairy, the mythical concept of the blue fairy, otherwise known as the creature that gives Pinocchio his life, is a black woman with a shaved head, and they're not happy about that. Oh,
they've recast it for gender and ethnic diversity.
Yeah, well, it was always a woman, so in fairness...
I've not seen Pinocchio, but it terrified me as a child.
It terrified me as well, Michael. I really hope that I don't have to relive the boy turning into donkey scene.
Yeah. That actually happened to me.
It did. It took years of rigorous posture training to really stand upright on your two hooves.
Yeah. My hooves itch, though. It's a very, very uncomfortable hoof situation.
Very uncomfortable, Michael. Very uncomfortable.
Benjamin, the internet's always upset about recasting characters.
I think it's only recasting characters when they're of any ethnicity that isn't white or Caucasian. Ah,
very good. You have that Reddit that you're on, the one you started.
Yeah, it's called White Men Only, and it is not the Reddit I thought it was going to be, Michael. I'll tell you that much.
No, very bad. Benjamin.
Yeah.
Sounds like a porn Reddit. Benjamin, is it any use?
I don't know if it's going to be any use, Michael. I think the live action adaptations of the Disney Renaissance films are generally horrible. I generally find
Pinocchio's not from the Disney Renaissance, so is it?
He's not. Yeah, he's one of the early boys. But I just generally find those live action things to be a soulless cash grab.
Yeah. That's you've described modern film there, Ben.
Yeah, I think Robert Zemeckis might try and do it a bit of justice. Michael, this is gonna paint me in a very poor light, right? But one of the things that comes out of it is they've made the goldfish very sexy for no reason.
Oh, I love a sexy goldfish.
It's very strange, Michael. The goldfish.
Hold on a minute. What do you mean they've made the goldfish very sexy?
Look up the goldfish from the Pinocchio. It's not sexy in the sense that it's actually attractive, Michael. I mean in the sense that it seems to be trying to flirt with the audience.
Oh, very good.
Which is very uncomfortable for everybody involved.
Benjamin, it looks like the goldfish was always kind of sexy, though.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm looking at the original goldfish here. If you search for a sexy Pinocchio goldfish, you just get the original goldfish.
All right, okay, never mind.
I think it's... it's just like a sexy goldfish.
So Robert Zemeckis, along with resurrecting your childhood in a reanimator fashion, in a way that you just wouldn't want, is bringing back the strange 1940s fetish of sexy goldfish.
Sexy lipstick wearing goldfish. I would say, if anything, Ben, the modern goldfish is less sexy than the original.
Oh, that's good.
That original goldfish was one sexy goldfish. Oh, very flirtatious.
Uncomfortable for all involved.
Might go watch Pinocchio now, Ben.
Just for the sexy goldfish.
Just for the sexy flirtatious goldfish. I'll tell you what, Ben, while I'm watching Pinocchio, why don't you fill the listeners in on what... Hold on, can we do a bit? Can we do a crime line bit or a 999 bit?
Yeah.
Like play some dramatic music, like dum 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 dum. Miller Watch.
Okay, you do the dramatic music, and I just
did.
Okay. All right. Oh, hang on. My thing is.
What's wrong with your thing?
Had to just turn off my YouTube. Just started playing by itself there, Michael. Very confusing.
Very good.
So.
Yes,
in a world of shiny golden celebrities, you think you can trust. One person slinks in the darkness beneath the rest. These are the true life and times of Ezra Miller on Miller Watch. Dun, 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 dun.
Very good. Very good, Benjamin. What's Ezra Miller up to this week, please?
He's had a meeting, Michael. It's not as exciting.
Very good. I wish that was the end of the bit, Ben. If that was just if the whole lead up was he's had a meeting, that would be just spectacular. I'd love it. What's he had a meeting about?
He had a meeting with the Warner Brothers executives to save his film, Michael.
Oh, really? Yakko, Wacko, and Dot.
Yes, all three of them have had him in, and they're not happy about it, Michael.
Okay.
So what's happened is Ezra Miller really loves playing the Flash, apparently.
Oh, really? Okay.
An insider source tells us, otherwise known as bollocks.
Yeah.
But apparently he loves playing the Flash, and he doesn't want to lose the role, Michael. And my answer to that would be, well, Ezra, you probably should have thought of that before you started fucking felonies.
Shouldn't have done all those illegal things.
But apparently the meeting went quite well, Michael. The current head of Warner Brothers has seen a cut of the film and is happy with it.
Oh, very good. Yakko, was it?
Yes, it was Yakko, not Dot.
Okay.
Dot's not happy with it. She's very feminist and isn't pleased. But Michael, this has naturally prompted a huge backlash from members of the acting world and also of the filmmaking world, because why did Batgirl get canned and the male-led film, why are they bending over backwards to save that? When
I don't know if Ezra Miller considers themselves male.
I don't think people care anymore, Michael. That is literally what I read in the article.
Very good, okay.
That is literally what I read in the article.
Maybe, Ben, The Flash is good and Batgirl was irredeemably awful.
Maybe, but it still stinks of why are we bending over backwards to save this film when this person is clearly not a good person?
Yeah, they're not a good person, but hundreds of millions of dollars, American dollars, have been invested into The Flash. And
200 million, Michael, last count. Apparently.
Too many million, Ben.
Yeah.
But also, it has been, since the beginning, touted as going to be the kind of anchor point of their reboot and their new DCEU.
I think the new DCEU, Michael, is largely in massive jeopardy, is it not? I mean, I don't think we're going to see a new DCEU.
No, never going to happen. Never
Never
going
gonna
to happen.
happen.
What I'm trying to suggest is perhaps there are other far more complicated things at play, that one of them has a male lead and one of them has a female lead.
Yes, probably that,
I mean,
Michael. But for the purposes
if nothing
of clickbait,
else, yeah, for the purposes of clickbait, great title. But if nothing else, the Flash is a much, much, much bigger character than Batgirl.
steady on now.
Much bigger, not physically. Batgirl can be quite hench, as they say.
You'll have the Barbara Gord stands in our comments.
Oh,
Michael.
they'll be after me. They'll be after me. If you ask, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that. Batgirl was in the 1960s show. I was about to say, if you ask my parents, have you heard of The Flash, and have you heard of Batgirl?
I think you might be
about
surprised.
the same. Yeah, it'll probably be about the same. But The Flash is a bigger character than Batgirl, Ben. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Well, yeah, that's the raft you want to go out into the Atlantic with. That's fine.
No, I'd stand by that. I'd stand by The
All
Flash
right,
as a bigger
ladies and gentlemen,
more
let us know down below.
Yeah, do. Yeah, do.
Get in touch with us. Tell
Yeah,
us what you think.
Do let us know that The Flash, who has had multiple of his own TV series and comic books throughout the years, is a bigger character than supporting character Batgirl. Go on,
He is
do let us know.
also Ezra Miller is also going to be charged for the felony burglary in Vermont. That is the other
Oh!
Ezra Watch update.
Good.
So he's being charged with that officially.
I tell you who else should be charged with a felony, Ben.
Go on.
Roland Emmerich.
Who's Roland Emmerich, Michael?
He's a director, Ben. You'd know him from directing such films as 2012, Oh No, Weather's Gone Mad.
Oh
and,
no, the weather's a bit shit.
Oh no, it was way more than a bit shit. It was very, very shit. And also Independence Day, Ben.
Oh yeah, that was a big old film.
Yeah, that was a good one. But then the other one, the Independence Day, the next Independence Day 2, where's all the original cast gone? No use at all.
No use at all, Michael.
And I'll tell you what I accidentally watched the other day, Ben, as I was trying to have a little rest and a little relax to myself. I accidentally watched the 2022 film Moonfall.
Moonfall. Sounds like a James Bond knockoff.
It does a bit, yeah. It's the sequel to Moon Up. Benjamin, have you seen the film or heard? Let's start with, have you heard of the film Moonfall?
No.
It's mad, Ben. It's mad that people haven't heard of this. Guess who's in it, Benjamin? Among others, Samuel Tarley is in it. I can't remember that actor's real name.
I can't either.
John something, triple barrel name. Your favourite and mine, Patrick Wilson, is in it.
Patrick Wilson?
Is that who I'm thinking of?
Paddy Dubs.
He was in Watchmen and Insidious.
And in Aquaman.
Aquaman, yes, he was Orm.
Yes, he was Orm.
Yeah. One, Halle Berry is in it.
What?
Halle Berry is in it, Ben.
Michael, this is a huge cast.
Huge cast in a. Is it Roland Emmerich? Is that what I said?
That's what you said.
Yeah. And Ben, a huge cast, huge director, huge budget. I think it came out in cinemas, but I don't remember.
No, it didn't. I haven't heard anything about this, Michael, and I would know. I do a weekly pop culture podcast.
Pop culture podcast. Yeah. But it came out on streaming, Ben, and I accidentally watched a bit of it going, is this new? Is this old? Is this from 10 years ago? The name rings a bell, but... So in it, Ben,
Yes.
Patrick Wilson plays a disgraced astronaut.
Classic Patrick Wilson role.
Yeah, he's let himself go, but only in a very sexy Patrick Wilson sort of way.
Yes, the schlub actually adds definition to his abs. Very good.
Yeah, he's one of the sexiest schlubs. He let himself go in a way that Chris Pratt would love to be able to let himself go. It's a very Chris Pratt-esque character that he plays in this.
Okay.
So he's an astronaut, Ben, and he's doing a space mission.
Okay.
And he's up there with Halle Berry, and they're looking at the moon, Ben. And some sort of terrifying Transformers Revenge of the Fallen-esque nanobot cloud destroys their mission and kills one of the astronauts and ruins the whole thing. Yeah, some sort of nanobot cloud, Ben. And Patrick Wilson manages to get back on the space shuttle and pilot it to Earth manually, Ben. One of the first men who's ever done it. And
I see.
He's initially considered a hero, but then he tells the story of the nanobots and everyone goes, oh no, he's not a hero. He's gone mad.
He's gone mental.
He's gone absolutely mental, Benjamin. But it turns out, guess what?
The nanobots were real all along.
The nanobots were real, Benjamin, and they were in the moon.
Oh no, and then the moon fell?
And then the nanobots, Ben, they're bad nanobots.
No, there's nothing worse than bad nanobots. Now, I won't say anything against good nanobots, but bad nanobots, no good.
No, they're good. They're in it as well, and they're good. They're good eggs. But the bad nanobots, absolute no use. And what they're going to do, Ben, those bad nanobots, is they're going to make the moon fall.
Why?
Because they don't want any humans around.
Oh, that's fair enough. I can kind of get behind that, Michael.
Ben, I'm going to get into spoilers because the why of it is absolutely mental. But it's one of the worst films I've ever seen. I couldn't believe it.
Bad.
Absolutely shocking, Ben. One of the worst made, acted, produced films I've ever seen in my entire life. It starts in 2011.
Okay.
It starts in the year 2011. And then it cuts to 10 years later. And everyone looks exactly the same. Halle Berry has slightly longer hair, but everyone looks the same. And I was watching this going, is this film from now and that was a flashback? Or is it from 2011 and now it's gone science fiction? And it's very hard to tell, Ben.
It sounds bizarre, Michael.
This is a 2011 film, which has somehow been made and released in 2022. Terrible stuff. One of them, just shockingly bad. Weird acting, weird editing, weird cuts. Very strange altogether. Multiple characters coming to the same conclusions at the same time. Like, it's Samuel Tarley's character, Ben, who has a theory that the moon is full of nanobots.
Oh, of course, because that's very logical.
Yeah. But Benjamin, in the world that he's in, it actually turns out to be right, so we all should have listened to the mad people.
Yeah, the moon is full of nanobots.
Evil nanobots, Ben.
And is that what they're called in the movie? They're called nanobots. They don't look like an alien race or something.
No, Ben, this is the best thing. Do you want the big spoiler?
Yeah, give me the big spoilers, Michael, because I'm never going to watch this.
This is the best thing, Ben. Billions of years ago, humanity was a spacefaring race.
Oh, fuck off. I hate that
on
shit.
Earth, Ben. On Earth. And we created an AI, Benjamin. And the AI turned evil.
Dun, dun, dun.
And wiped out humanity. But the last vestiges of humanity managed to make the moon, Ben.
Ridiculous.
And the moon has been up there. The moon is a good AI. And the moon has been...
I'm sorry. Did you say the moon is a good AI?
Yeah. The moon's a good AI. And the nanobots were the evil AI. And the moon manages to protect us for billions of years while we restart as a species.
Ridiculous. Okay.
But then the bad AI, Ben, got into the moon.
Oh, no.
Because humans are going up there now, and, there's traces of the bad AI. And now, the bad AI is going to make the moon fall.
Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly, Ben. Guess how you're going to stop it, though?
You're going to befriend the bad nanobots and make them see the error of their ways?
No, Benjamin. Think more 2000s movie making.
There's a special ray on Earth, or one man has to pilot it.
There you go, Ben.
There we go. It's an Armageddon style thing. Bruce Willis is the only man for the job.
No, it's Patrick Wilson, Ben.
Oh, sorry. Bruce Wilson is the only man for the job.
Absolute shite, Ben. Absolutely appalling. Don't watch it.
Sounds terrible.
Should have been straight into the bin. I don't know how they released it. Benjamin.
Yes.
The good news is, though, I have finally seen your favourite film of the summer and mine. Jordan Peele's new hit, Ben. Nope. Nope, as it's called, Benjamin. Nope. I saw the film Nope. Have you seen the film Nope?
Nope.
Very good. Word is it's out on streaming either this week or next week, Benjamin. But I caught one of the last screenings in the cinema. And I tell you what, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
But it wasn't remotely what I thought it was going to be.
All right. Well, are we doing spoilers, Michael, for a movie that's come out in certain parts of the world weeks ago?
Yeah, weeks and weeks and weeks ago, including here, Ben. We missed quite a bit of it as well. But I am going to have to do spoilers to discuss it.
Okay.
And one of the... I mean, can I be a bit selfish, Ben, and just talk about my feelings for a moment?
Yeah, all right, go on. It's important to talk about your feelings, Michael.
Exactly, Benjamin. We don't want to bottle them up in there and end up starting a Reddit. Benjamin, what I really like about... What I was really looking for... Did you like that joke? You did a little laugh at that Reddit joke there. What I really enjoy... Thank you. I really enjoy an alien abduction film, Ben.
Of course you do.
A mysterious lights in the sky. What's going on? Who's coming to get us? Are they coming to get us? What happened to time? That kind of thing.
The classic "What happened to time" narrative.
What happened to time? Where did all the time go? That kind of thing, Benjamin. I love it. I love that whole genre. And I went to see Nope with the expectation that it would be that type of film.
Where did time go film?
Like mysterious goings on in the sky and spooky abduction stuff. And it very much sets itself up to be that kind of film, but it also very much isn't.
Okay.
And I went into this knowing almost nothing. It's rare, Ben, but I divorced myself from finding out anything about this so that I could enjoy it for what it was. And the fact that I was expecting that kind of mystery alien abduction thing meant I thoroughly enjoyed the first half, but was a bit disappointed by the twist.
Right.
Because the twist made it the type of film that I was less interested in.
Okay.
However, that film is very good.
Okay,
The film that it
that's
becomes
good.
is very good. It's a very good film. It's a very entertaining film. It's not quite the genre I had built up in my mind and was hoping for. But that doesn't lessen it as a film in any way. And if you're just going into this and you know nothing about it, and you're not expecting a kind of, hopefully, the best ever alien abduction film,
Okay.
you'll probably think it's even better than I did, and I thought it was very good.
Oh, well, that's very good, Michael.
My lovely lady friend said it was the most enjoyable time she'd had in the cinema in years.
Well, that's quite high praise.
Yeah. Very high praise. The performances, obviously, Benjamin, are universally across the board excellent. A small cast.
Daniel Kaluuya, Kiki
Daniel
Palmer.
Kaluuya is in it. Kiki Palmer is in it. And they're very different, which is a good mix. From the trailers, I was slightly worried that Kiki Palmer's character was going to be constantly over the top and hard to watch for a long stretch, but she very much isn't.
Oh, excellent.
She's very good. She's got nuances in her, Ben, which is excellent.
She's got a few nuances.
Very many nuances, which is very good, and it's an excellent performance.
Much better than old aunts.
Yeah, no use, those old aunts.
Get them out of
Nobody
there.
likes an
Old aunts.
aunt. Yeah.
Creeping around the family heirloom mansions. Stopping us from
collecting
getting our
those stuffed
inheritance.
spiders. Yeah.
old
No
aunt.
use. Benjamin, do you want some spoilers?
Go on, hit me.
I can spoil it without directly telling you what's going on.
No, go for it, Michael.
But
Just
I'm
have
going to
a-
spoil more of the theme and tone of it. It ends up much more along the... So the first half of it is a what's going on in the sky spooky mystery film, the kind that I was hoping for.
What's going on in the sky?
What's going on in the sky is a spooky mystery. That's what they should have called it. But the second half of the film, the back end, as it were, Ben,
Yes.
the back nine,
Yes.
is much more akin to, and here comes the spoilers now, let's say Tremors, or a very good film to compare it to would be Jaws.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
Oh, num.
Exactly, yes, exactly that sound that you've made.
And just like that, I'm back in.
Yeah. Oh, you were out, were you? You were
No, I
out when you
wasn't.
thought it
No,
was
I wasn't really,
spooky aliens in the sky.
For the Michael, I'm a timid soul. And
Timid little fella, yeah.
the horrors, much like old ants, terrify me.
Yeah. You don't want them anywhere near you. Yeah, it's not, I would say, really a horror.
Okay.
It is a horror. Is Jaws a horror, Ben?
No,
Is it not?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd call Jaws a horror.
I mean, if I had to put it in a genre, excuse me, if I had to put it in a genre with any other single film, it would be Jaws.
Yeah, all right, that's fair enough then.
There's a good bit of Tremors in the DNA there as well, mainly for the setting.
Yes, in the American countryside.
In the American countryside, in the American West, in the deserty areas.
Yes.
And the back end of the film is quite Tremors-like. It's funny in places. It's not a comedy like Tremors. It's not quite as light-hearted as Tremors.
Okay.
But, yeah, there's a good bit of Tremors there in it. So, first half of it, Ben, Close Encounters.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, Jaws meets Tremors.
Right.
There you go. There's your film.
Not
What do you
bad
think of that?
DNA.
What do you think of that? Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And full of the classic Jordan Peele trope, technique of having some bizarre, truly bizarre non sequiturs that end up feeding back into the main plot.
For yeah, okay. So the jarring thing where everybody's like, "Oh, that must mean something. That must mean something," and then sometimes it doesn't mean anything at all.
Exactly. Well, I can tell you because the opening scene, and it threw me quite a bit. But the opening scene, Benjamin, is a chimpanzee on a sitcom, savaging the sitcom cast.
Oh dear.
Yeah. See, exactly.
When entertainment goes wrong, eh?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, it's very hard to discuss this without going really in depth and spoiling it.
We're going to have to do some spoilers, Michael. Just, it's time to pull the pin on the grenade. Ladies and gentlemen, listen away now. If you don't want any spoilers, go to the time codes down below and skip yourself ahead, because I'm interested in Michael's opinion and I'd like to hear.
Okay, right, here we go then. Here goes the big spoilers, right?
Yes.
It's not an alien spaceship, Ben. It is an organism.
It's racism.
No, it's an organism.
Oh, sorry.
The thing that's stalking the sky at night is a big flying jellyfish kind of creature thing.
Ooh.
It's not abducting people, it's just eating them.
Oh, it's a classic, I'm going to eat you.
Yeah, so it's going like, oh, I'm going to eat you, not, oh, I'm going to probe you up the bum.
Yeah, so it's not at all what we thought it was going to. There's nothing hopeful. It's just a big alien organism.
I mean, there isn't even any direct proof in the film that it's alien.
Oh, it's just some kind of radiated thing.
It's just some sort of thing, and they may exist. It's very much in that sense like Tremors.
Yeah, okay.
That
it
maybe
could be
this
terrestrial
is just,
threat.
Yeah, maybe this is just something that lives in the desert. And we've never really got them on film until now, but maybe this is what has always been responsible for people thinking they're seeing UFOs.
Gas.
Yeah. And then obviously because the main characters have their horse wranglers.
Yes.
And they have a unique perspective on it once they figure out what it is, because they know this is an animal and we're animal handlers. So we have a unique set of skills to be able to trap this thing.
To handle that animal.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So that's where things like the chimpanzee attack at the beginning come into it. Because it all turns out to be about, man's hubris in exploiting not just animals, but anything for entertainment. Exploiting things for entertainment that we think we control, but if we take our eye off it for a second, it can go wild and rip everyone's faces
horribly wrong.
off. Yeah. So that's kind of the theme and tone of it. There is, I suppose we all thought, because of the history of Jordan Peele's films, that there would be a little bit of something about race relations in the USA in it.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit.
Yeah, well,
because they are the first black-owned Hollywood horse training ranch.
That's a big deal.
And there's a little bit in it about black people being erased from the history of Hollywood, but it's not the central theme. The central theme is man's hubris in exploiting nature and thinking they can get away with it.
We're all shit at that bit.
Yeah, exactly. That seems to be the main point of it. And
nice.
So as you can imagine, because I was hoping for a spooky alien abduction movie, as it was gradually revealed that it wasn't that, I had a little bit of a like, oh, because there are a couple of scenes, a couple of not wild goose chases, a couple of
red herrings.
What's the word I'm looking? Red herrings. Thank you, Ben. There are a couple of red herrings where it is going to be about aliens, and they're some of the most effective spooky alien abduction scenes you'll ever see.
Yes.
But then they turn out to be pranks or
damn it,
misunderstandings. So, it's good. It's very good. It's very, very, very good. Don't let the fact that it wasn't what I thought it'd be, that I thought it would be, detract from what it is as an excellent thing in its own right.
I have never allowed your wild expectations of things to impact me in the slightest, Michael.
Very good, Benjamin. So yeah, go see it. It's very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll enjoy it, I think, even more on a second or third watch.
Are you going to have a little second and third viewing?
Yeah. Just to enjoy it for what it is rather than what I wanted it to be.
Ah, very good, Michael. You're going to divorce yourself once more from your own expectations in order to better submerge yourself in the world of the film.
In the film, exactly, Benjamin.
Very good, Michael.
Look, it's a big spooky sand dollar sort of thing.
It's a very healthy attitude to film watching, Michael. If only the world would adopt it with you.
Benjamin, but if they did that, then who would get annoyed when they recast characters as different races?
Racists.
Oh, yeah. Those lads. Good grand bunch of lads. Benjamin, speaking of racists, you and the gang up on Reddit have been watching She-Hulk.
As I previously stated, Michael, the subreddit White Guys Only is not a racist subreddit as I had hoped. It's something very different.
Yeah, it's important.
But, well, I mean, it's still probably racist in the fact
still
that
a bit
it's all
racist,
white men.
We came to that conclusion at the same time, Ben. It's probably still a bit racist. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong
I would
here,
strongly
Ben.
urge people not to search Reddit White Guys Only because it probably
don't.
exists and it's probably the joke that we're making.
Yeah. Having said that, Ben, porn seems to be the one place where it's perfectly fine to be racist.
As long because it's all acting with air quotes.
No, but I mean, maybe we'll get an expert in on this. I can't think of a porn expert off the top of my... Yeah, but, in porn, they just call racism genres.
They do, it's true.
It's just what genre of porn are you into? Like, what's your racist kink? Anyway, never mind. Let's talk about pop culture.
But yeah, Michael, I've seen She-Hulk episode 2. You have as well, I'm sure.
I have indeed, of course I have, Benjamin.
Michael, this continues to be arguably the best thing we've seen since WandaVision.
I thought episode 2, Benjamin, was fabulous.
Fantastic.
It had all of the highs of episode 1 without the things I didn't like about episode 1. It feels like it was written by different people. It feels like it was written by people who possibly hate men a little bit less.
Or have a better understanding of how sexist society affects women.
Go on.
Well, I think it's quite interesting that Jen is forced to kind of pursue a job and it's not necessarily anything to do with her gender that's getting her out of the job market. It's optics. It's a
optics
much more
and tokenism.
Yeah, it's much more tokenism and optics.
Yes.
And I think it's a much broader critique of, rather than it just being women, it's about minorities and ethnicities being hired for the sake of it.
Yeah. But on the other hand, it is definitely about women. You're entirely right, Benjamin. And that's what I mean. That level of, that's what I'm there for that. That's good.
Yes, okay.
They handled that really well.
Okay.
They handled that so well. That is reflecting society. But just look, can we go back to episode 1 for a second?
Go on, get yourself back in there.
In episode 1, episode 1 is almost farcically men are evil.
Yes.
Almost farcically. To the point where Jennifer is giving that speech to Bruce, saying, to a guy whose entire superpower is basically controlling his unbridled rage.
Yes. And
she's giving him a lecture about how she has to put up with men explaining things to her and competent men having position. And we're never shown any of that.
Yes.
The only men she meets in episode 1, she casually dismisses them. They're the worst men, and she casually dismisses them as either idiots or scumbags, and she's just like, yeah, I'm so in charge of it. There's nothing. She doesn't suffer anything. She just says, I'm always suffering. But then we don't see any of that. And she says that to the Hulk, who has had 22 years or something of
trauma and abuse
as a monster. Yeah. Trauma, abuse, he's been killed, he's had multiple suicide attempts, he's been abducted, he's travelled across space.
He was abused by his father, horrifically, if we're to go by the original canon.
Incredible and horrible life. But it's nothing compared to Jennifer has a smug male colleague who,
he's not even that smug, he's just very impotent.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just an impotent little troll man, Michael.
He was just a little troll man, exactly. And she dealt with him instantly. But, that made her have to deal with a lot more than everything the Hulk has gone through. Absolute horrible nonsense.
I don't know if I agree with you. I don't think it was framed that way at all. I don't think it was framed as...
100% was.
I don't think it was framed as, oh, my life is much worse than the original Hulk's. I think it was just highlighting the fact that Bruce might not be aware of what women go through on a daily basis. I don't know.
She says to him, I'm better than you at controlling my anger because
she does say that. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
It's like, it's the Hulk, please. But anyway, back to episode 2.
Yes.
Episode 2 is great because they don't even spell that out to us. They don't say, she doesn't turn around and go, well, look what's happened to me because I'm a woman.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you have any degree of intelligence, you can see that.
Or media literacy, yeah.
Exactly. And they have spoon-fed it to us, not forced it to us, and shown us the opposite.
Yeah. All right. That's a good note for episode 2, Michael. I like that.
It's fantastic. I just can't envisage how they were written by the same people.
They might not have been, but they might have been directed in a very different way as well.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I don't understand how it's happened.
I'll have a look. You spin your wheel.
The subtlety of how they did it is so much better. It's just so much better. It's still, it's difficult being a woman, and we're going to show you that with She-Hulk. But I mean, Benjamin, it's storytelling 101 is that in this episode they show us, they don't tell us. And in the last episode, they told us and showed us the opposite.
Really interestingly, Michael, exact same creative team.
Yeah, very strange.
Directed by Kate Coiro, sorry. And Jessica Gao was the writer on both.
Yeah, I highly doubt that there's a single writer involved in any of these things. Maybe they just credit a head writer or something, but there's no way Marvel is letting one person write entire series. Anyway, look.
No, probably not.
That's my 2 cents on the whole thing, because that was why I thought episode 2 was so much better and more satisfying than episode 1.
I thought it was better and more satisfying because it leaned more into its own tone, Michael. I think what I mean by that is one of my favourite scenes is the strange call that Jennifer Walters has to have with the Hulk, and she's ready to defend her point to the nth degree, and it's just a really nice interaction where the Hulk is like, yeah, no, you should take the case. It's a pretty good opportunity. He wrote me a lovely haiku, and then my favourite fourth wall break so far, Michael, was I'm a different person now, literally. And Jennifer Walters goes, haha. And I was like, yes, very good. Fuck Edward Norton.
Because it was Edward Norton.
Yeah, fuck Edward Norton. Definitely not a good guy, Michael. The more I learn about Edward Norton,
well, then you probably should have played the Hulk.
Definitely not a good guy. But anyway,
Ruffalo's too nice to be the Hulk.
Ruffalo's great as the Hulk. Get out of here. Mark Ruffalo is the best Hulk we've ever had on screen. Get out of here.
Eric Bana would like to have a word with you, Ben.
Yeah, he's welcome to.
He's a big fella.
Yeah, he is. That's not the issue here, Michael.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Can we talk nerd talk for a moment rather than tone?
100%.
Because I'd like to go back to tone. But nerd talk. Hulk definitely has a child on Sakaar, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Scar is coming in.
Going on
Scar is about to enter the chat.
Yeah, that's what's going on there, Benjamin.
Yeah.
And Benjamin, did you notice the famous scene where she's checking some sort of gossip newspaper, and they finally address some of the mysteries of the MCU?
There's a fella with some blades in his hands, Michael, starting bar fights.
Oh, I wonder who that could be. Some
mutton chops?
Stabs McGee.
Stabs McGee.
Stabs McGee. He's a famous fella from around Dublin.
Yeah, old Stabs McGee. Yeah, but also the giant hand in the...
Why is there a statue of a giant man popping out of the ocean? Brilliant stuff.
One of the really entertaining things there, Michael, is that apparently the MCU post Eternals has been the MCU fandom has been very annoyed that it's never addressed, and this apparently has just been stuck in to be like, there you go, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Stop your messing now. Stop your moaning.
Give over,
Benjamin.
Yeah.
The final nerd talk is on the timeline.
Yes, so it takes place concurrently, Michael. Episode 2 takes place with the early events of Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
Yeah, but also at the end because they mucked it up.
Oh, go on.
Because Bruce Banner is a human at the end of Shang-Chi. Oh. And he still has his sling on. So they've mucked it up, Ben.
They've mucked it.
They've mucked it up. They got all mixed up.
Everything.
And the creators, Benjamin, said that the reason Bruce Banner was a human in the end of Captain Marvel was because they had to contrive a reason for him to be a human, so they could contrive a reason for him to bleed on Jennifer.
Toolish across the board.
And they've mucked it up, Ben.
They've mucked it up.
They've mucked up the timeline, and there's just one thing that Marvel fans don't like, it's mucking up the timeline.
Except that they do it all the time, Michael. They'll retcon it with Kang or something. Kang turned him back into a human form, and he had to be that way. Can we talk about the return of a character that I never thought I'd be happy to see the return of, but Emil Blonsky.
Emil Blonsky as Emil Blonsky. It's Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky. Yes, go on.
But Michael, what a joy that character is all of a sudden. From serious pain in the arse character in The Incredible Hulk in 2008 to witty, self-reflective mercenary man.
Did you get a feeling, did you get a tiny touch of Trevor Slattery off him?
Oh yeah, stacks.
Yeah, there was a tiny touch of Trevor Slattery.
But it works very well in the realm of the She-Hulk.
Yes, go on.
He's the right choice for witty kind of like, I write haikus in my spare time now, and it's like, yeah, all right, fair enough. And he starts to try and read them, and it's a whole thing. Very, very interesting moves from Tim Roth. Glad to see him back. It's a good match for what is admittedly a much more talk based show than what we're used to in the MCU. But one of the things I really liked about it was how they tied that together with the Hulk. You know, he wrote me a really nice haiku, a really heartfelt haiku. I think it's all done very well, Michael. I think it's a show that really knows what it's about, and I think it comes across very well.
I loved episode 2, Benjamin. And you're right, I don't think there's any action in it, is there?
No, I don't think there's
no action in it at all. And
there's one transformation where she's required to be the She-Hulk.
That happens off screen.
That happens off screen. She transforms into Jennifer Walters once, I think.
Yeah.
When she's fired by the DA.
Yeah. It's great. It's really good. Benjamin, what about, back to nerd talk, what about his 7 soulmates, Benjamin? Is that the Thunderbolts? Or is that just a joke?
I think it's a weird American prison culture joke, but I think it could also be the Thunderbolts. Maybe
we're supposed to believe it's a weird American prison culture joke, and it turns out to be the Thunderbolts.
Do you think? So here's what I'm. I wouldn't say interested in, but here's what is intriguing me: is Emil Blonsky going to be on a weird team with Wong, or is Wong going to be on the Thunderbolts?
I don't know. I think that we're going to see a lot of that in this show. I think this show is going to be much more integral to the next phase than we thought it was going to be.
Well, it is Phase 5, Michael.
Is it? Is this Phase 5 or
I
Phase 4?
This
is Phase 4. No, this is Phase 4 because Black Panther is the end of Phase 4 and that's coming in a few weeks.
Should have brought this out at the start. I'd be more excited about Phase 4. This is good stuff.
Yeah, but then the timeline would have been all wonkified.
It doesn't matter, Michael, apparently.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
I love the tone they're taking with Emil Blonsky, where I thought I was the hero. I was brought in as
where
a
did that come
consultant
from?
by you.
You sneaky
Great.
fox.
I mean, but so true.
Yeah, but it's absolutely right. Like, decorated bloody British
decorated
soldier.
war hero brought in to control a monster. And okay, he was a bit zealous, but they offered him the Captain America super soldier serum, and he thought he was going to be Captain America. And yeah, this poor guy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, if you can forgive the Hulk and have the Hulk as a hero, then you have to be able to forgive the Abomination and have the Abomination as a hero.
I'm looking forward to seeing more of the Abomination in Abomination form. I love that weird Swamp Thing original design of the Abomination.
And he even mentions his little tiny ears in this. So I think when he turns back into Abomination, he's going to have the traditional ears.
The little tiny ears. Well, we saw it in Shang-Chi for 5/8 of a second, Michael.
Yeah.
He has little tiny ears.
It's a very interesting adaptation of the comic book, isn't it, Ben?
It is. It's a very solid adaptation, Michael. I think it achieves that through a number of different things, Michael. In fact, I think you might say we're in a golden age of adaptation for comic books, Michael.
Would you? We should have some sort of adaptation conversation then.
We probably should, Michael. Hey, you and I, we do a weekly pop culture podcast.
Oh, yeah?
And we should probably try it today. We've got a little bit of time left, Michael.
All right, we've got about 25 minutes left. So what are we doing now then?
Well, let's welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the adaptation conversation.
Very good. What a segue.
No, Michael, I came to you with this a couple of weeks ago, and then we forgot to do it because we're just not as organised as you would have it. We would have you believe, dear listener.
Yeah.
But I came to you a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to speak. In particular, I was rewatching bits of The Boys, and I was watching some of Preacher. Would you believe, Michael?
Preacher? I've never heard of it or seen it. What is that?
Preacher is a cult classic comic book by one Garth Ennis, Michael, the cat, Garth Ennis, who's just outside your window there now, Michael. If you
He's
take
just
a look.
outside my gaff here. Darth, go off the grass. He's pissing in the grass, Ben.
He's pissing on the grass. It's not good for the grass.
He's creating dead patches.
Garth Ennis is a Northern Irish comic book writer, Michael, and seems to connect with everybody when they're about 15.
Yeah. That was his target.
And then slowly everybody goes up and goes, "Jeez, this is very fucking mean."
This is very mean. I think I might grow out of this now. At the first given
I think it's about time I grew out of this shit. This is very fucking mean.
I'll either grow out of this or I'll start a Reddit.
And these are the choices that every 15-year-old man is faced with. And one of the things that prompted this, Michael, is there is a wave of social media response to The Boys TV show where people are looking for the comics, and several thousand creators are jumping on going, hi. Normally I'm all for researching the source material and, you know, going back to the roots of the comic. In this case, I really want to stress that you shouldn't do that. The Boys TV show is the better version of The Boys without shadow of a doubt. And I have to say, Michael, having reread some of the comics, having rewatched them as well, nobody's wrong. The Boys is a much better TV show than it is a comic.
We have said it multiple times, Benjamin, that what they have done with The Boys, and it's a word. I hate to throw the word genius about, but they've done an incredibly good job of managing to look at the comic, because even though neither of us liked it, and a lot of people don't like it, it was a hit. Not a huge super hit, but it was a hit. Yeah, and there's obviously stuff in the Boys comics that appeals to people.
Yes.
And the cynical among us, you and I included,
yes,
would have said what you've just said there, that what it is about The Boys that appeals to people is the grossness, the meanness, the cynicism of it. And that to try and adapt that while stripping that out would leave you with something very Jupiter Rising.
Jupiter Rising was a poor film.
TV show. People did.
Poor TV
Some
show.
people liked it though. But
sorry, I confused Jupiter Rising with Jupiter Ascending, which was that weird Mila Kunis film with Channing Tatum.
Yeah. Where Channing Tatum was a cat man. So the cynical among us men would have said that The Boys would either be, you have to make the TV show so gross and horrible that it's almost unwatchable and it appeals to that very same demographic.
Yes.
Or you can strip that stuff out and you'll lose its appeal and you'll be left with a generic TV show. But they've proven us all wrong, really. By managing to adapt it, strip out most of the meanness, although you might be surprised if you're the TV show only fan to hear that this is the version with most of the meanness stripped out.
It's true. It might be shocking.
Because it's still pretty mean. It's still pretty mean, but it's nowhere near as mean as the comics. And still have something very good. I think it's a stunning adaptation. It's one of the best examples of taking source material that has some gold in it, but being a really... You and I, Ben, couldn't have done this.
No.
It requires too much skill and too much deft handling. I think now, with The Boys particularly, now is going to be the telling time, because they've diverged so much from the source material. They're essentially telling their own story.
They are. And
will it be good is the big question I have now.
I have a lot of hope for it, Michael. I think, Eric Kripke, for better or worse, Michael, was a phenomenal showrunner back in the days of Supernatural. And
get
out
the first 6 seasons, maybe.
Yeah, but that was Eric Kripke, and then he left.
Oh, very good. Okay.
That's the thing, you see. That's
what
the
happened.
issue. Eric Kripke knows what he's about, and he knows how to make a good series that engages you. And now he's been given more budget and bigger casts, and he doesn't have to set everything in a backwater US town,
or a barn,
or a barn. Vampires in the barn all the time, all the time.
Yeah, that was the final episode.
Yeah,
Benjamin.
Yeah.
How does Preacher fit into this?
So, Preacher, I think, was a test run for The Boys, Michael.
Go on.
Because Preacher had a similar set of producers attached to it, including Seth Rogen. And again, it's a Garth Ennis gig. And I think...
Go on.
I think Garth Ennis, when he wanted to write... So Preacher came first. Preacher was released in the 1990s. And what Preacher essentially is, Michael, is an agnostic atheist road trip around America. And it's an outsider's perspective on the spectacle that is the USA.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is Garth Ennis, as an Irishman, probably went around the US and went, this is fucking mental.
This is mad, this place. Anywhere I piss on the grass, they get very upset at me.
And then And then when he was done licking his own paws and doing a little catty
Yeah, he's a little cat
thing.
fella, yeah.
He decided to document it in a bizarre thing. And he did that with 3 characters. He did that with Jesse Custer, who was the preacher. Tulip O'Hare, who is the Gal Friday of the whole affair.
Yeah.
And bloody Cassidy, Prunchus Cassidy, the vampire.
Yeah, he's a vampire man, yeah.
And that's what they did. And they went off and they made the attempt. Now, in that, Michael, it's so teenage atheist, it's unbelievable. You know,
But God is in it.
God is in it, but he's a little shit.
Yeah, he's a real dickhead.
He's a real dickhead. And we get that a lot, Michael. And, you know, it doesn't have... One of the major flaws of the Preacher comic book is that Jesse Custer is perfect.
Go on.
Jesse Custer is a man of iron will and, you know, unflinchable moral character, Michael. And unflinching, even if you like to use English correctly. But unflinching moral character. And one of the things that we see a lot is... You know, characters come up against Jesse Custer, and through sheer fortitude on Jesse Custer's part, he's great.
Oh, he's great, isn't he?
And he's just a wonderful person, and that's why Genesis chose him.
Right.
One of the great adaptations of this is that Jesse Custer is a very angry man who is occasionally very flawed in his thinking. And the reason that Genesis has chosen him is because he indulges Genesis's childish whims.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, so the voice is in the comic books. The voice Genesis bonds with Jesse Custer, and that's the end of it. Jesse Custer then has a power called the Voice, and he can just make people do things. In this, we take a much closer look at how a godlike power would impact a man who's already quite traumatized from his own existence,
right?
And how they would go a step further with that power. And what we get in season 1 of the Preacher adaptation, Michael, is a wonderful look at how that absolute power would corrupt absolutely.
Go on.
And it's pretty damn interesting, Michael. Pretty damn interesting. Also, the funny tone of Preacher is taken out, so the weird teenage humor of Preacher is kind of replaced far more with a bit of a Southern Gothic drama vibe, and it works very well,
really?
Michael.
It's not a comedy.
It's not a super comedy. There are moments of it, but this is far more a sinister look at how fucked up America is. So I think when we look at the comic book, Michael, Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon at the time were attempting to make a parody of the spectacle of America. As I said, they were trying to highlight the silliness of it all. This takes a look at America, I guess, as a global imperialist, culturally colonizing beast.
Oh, a very 2020s take on it.
Yeah, and shows it as a... Oh, God, it's all those funny things, all those over-the-top things, they're actually a bit sinister, aren't they? They're a bit... There's something rotten in the state of Denmark. When you look at... And it's pretty damn interesting, Michael. As an adaptation, and probably the DNA of the Boys adaptation a little bit later.
I'm having a thought, Ben, that you can nearly put adaptations on a kind of graph.
Go on.
And on your x-axis, Ben, you could have from left to right, completely original story. Yeah. And then over on the far side of your other side, you could have panel for panel adaptation.
Yes.
Right? So you might go from, like, let's say, She-Hulk.
Go on.
She-Hulk, the new Marvel show She-Hulk, doesn't appear to be based on anything to do with the original comic book story-wise.
No, because we haven't even seen a super suit yet, Michael.
It's a whole, although I think we are getting one, but it's a whole brand new story.
Yeah.
So it would be quite towards the left. It might not be all the way over to the left, but it would be quite to the left on the left to right graph.
Go on.
And then on your y-axis, Ben, you're up and down.
No, look at that wavy hand.
That's right. Have I mixed my axes up? But the up and down axis, Ben.
Yeah.
You could have tone or character, and how faithful something is to the tone and character of the original.
Yeah, okay.
So, again, to go to Watchmen, right? Yeah. Watchmen wouldn't be on the far exact right, and this has nothing to do with politics if any American listeners are listening.
Settle down.
But it wouldn't be on the far absolute right, because Watchmen famously changed the ending.
Famously.
famously changed the ending
For no reason.
Well, I thought it was arguably, you could argue it might have been a better reason. You could argue it might have been a better ending, Ben.
Get out of here.
You could argue it might have been a better ending of Watchmen.
Settle down, Michael.
You could argue it was a better ending. You might argue it was a better ending, Ben.
I think I have argued that it was a better ending on this podcast.
I think you personally have argued it was a better ending.
I think I actually have. I think that is my opinion.
Because it ties more back in with what's going on.
But for good podcasting,
it's not just,
Michael, I have to argue against you.
Yeah, but anyway. So Watchmen would be over pretty far to the right, except for the ending is different. But otherwise, it's nearly panel for panel.
Yes.
And on an up to down as well, because it's pretty much the same tone and themes and characters of the original.
Absolutely.
So, like, Watchmen will be up there in the top right quadrant of same tone, same theme, same story.
Go on.
Nearly panel for panel.
Yeah.
The Boys would be more towards the left in terms of story, or maybe right in the middle in terms of story.
For season one, definitely.
Season 1 would be more towards the right. It is pretty much the same story in season 1. Season 2, heading back towards the... You get where I'm going here?
Yeah, I get
it's moving away.
So we could chart based on seasons, basically, Michael.
You could do a chart based on seasons, and The Boys season 1 would be a lot more... accurate is the wrong word, but faithful adaptation. Yeah. And then... I would put it nearly on the line in terms of a tonal adaptation because it's much less extreme.
Yes, thankfully.
But it is still a comedy, drama, gross thing. So it's kind of in the right area. She-Hulk, bang on the tone.
Yeah, okay.
The tone of She-Hulk is the tone of the sensational She-Hulk comics.
Yes.
But the story has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Absolutely nothing, Michael.
And Benjamin, what I'm leading to with this whole thing is, have you seen Sandman?
Yes, Michael.
And where would you personally put it on that
Michael,
chart?
That ends up being smack bang in the middle, like that.
Go on.
Oh no, hang on. Which one was faithful?
Oh, towards the right on the axis.
And then tonal was higher on the axis. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You'd be hard pressed not to have a high right.
Yeah. But you made an interesting point of talking about seasons. In Sandman, you could nearly do it episode by episode.
You could, yeah, you could.
Yeah, go on, Benjamin. What are your thoughts on this adaptation here?
I mean, in terms of definitely the first 2 episodes, we have an amalgam series on our hands. So, you spoke about it 2 weeks ago, I think now, Michael. The Corinthian has a much more elevated role in this.
Yes, yeah.
As an antagonist, supreme kind of, and he's really a catalyst for a lot of the episode arcs. He interacts with Edith Cripps and sets the whole John Dee arc in motion, and he helps John Dee by giving him a coat and stuff because he's creating chaos in some form. He's a real agent of chaos against the Dream Lord.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to argue the tone because I think it's pure Neil Gaiman throughout tonally.
Yeah, go on.
And what I mean by that is the world is a strange place filled with unique people, and sometimes tragic things happen to good people, and no one can have any control over that, and human actions bring disaster, and these kinds of things happen all the time. And I think tonally it's one of the best adaptations I've ever seen. It's very close to reading the comic books. In fact, I found myself several times feeling the storyline of the comic books much better through the TV show, because I finally had like a very strong emotional counterpart. What I'd refer to very strongly there is episode 5 of this with John Dee, and more so episode 4, I guess, with the woman who has to drive John Dee around. And the dog.
Very horrific scene.
Very, very, very heightened sense of fear in that particular scene. And the strange power this little man has over everything.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
I think it was less gruesome. One of the things that in certain parts of this show, it is so Watchmen-esque in its almost panel for panel, line for line, word for word adaptation. Sometimes I'm left confused going, am I remembering reading that, or is it just so close that I think... So I don't remember how different the diner scene was. And the diner scene is key. You can tell how key the diner scene was because it gets a full 50-minute episode.
It's the longest episode on the runtime so far in this season, before the other ones, but it's the longest one. It's the longest episode chronologically at that point.
Yeah. Well explained, Ben. You've explained yourself out of that corner.
Get out of here, graph boy. Describing a visual graph through an audio podcast.
You draw the graph, Ben. You draw the graph for us. You draw it. Benjamin, what was I saying? Maybe you could help me on this. Was the TV adaptation much more gruesome or much less gruesome than the original?
I think it depends on what you would define as. John Dee is less gruesome than he is in the comic. John Dee is a strange little decrepit creature in the comic.
He's a full-on baddie in the comic.
He's a full-on baddie, and he's doing it out of malice. I think one of the things that really unnerved me about David Thewlis's performance is he's just a wounded child. He was just lied through his whole life, and he was just like, this is awful. I hate lies. And I think it's really shown in that way. David Thewlis does a stunning job of just being this bizarre kind of person who's just like, I hate lies. I don't like lies. And
no more lies out of you.
You know, if we'd seen that a couple of years ago, we might have gotten a melodramatic person be like, don't lie to me. But this is far more David Thewlis just being like, nope, you're lying. You're lying.
Yeah.
You're lying. And it's really unnerving as the characters kind of come up against that. So one of the things that's very, very different is in the comics, John Dee makes the residents of the diner kind of perform for his amusement. And there's a very uncomfortable sexual exploitation of the women in the diner in the comic.
Is there? I don't remember that.
The women are forced to kind of sing together for John Dee's amusement. One of the women is forced to show her chest to John Dee in the
really?
comic.
I don't remember that.
And you know, it's far more John Dee indulging his own desire as he goes through. But in this
choice of words,
one of the interesting things that we see, Michael, is everybody's gay, first of all.
Everybody's
that
gay.
really is one of the big tones of the show. And it was funny because before that I was like, it doesn't really impact the show that much. But in this particular episode, everybody's gay.
Is everybody gay though, or is that because he's doing the magic on them?
We don't know. We're not. It seems to us, Morpheus seems to explain it as, that's all you, John Dee. The Ruby is making your dreams come true, and you have projected that onto people and stuff like that. But also, the chef is definitely gay. The young woman who beats her girlfriend is definitely gay.
Giles' daughter.
Is that Giles' daughter?
That's one of Tony Head's daughters, yeah.
Get out of here.